So coming on to unfair dismissal. For unfair dismissal not relating to potential discriminatory claim, you need to have at least 24 months continuous service. This is your 2 years service before you can claim an unfair dismissal. That doesn't mean though if it's felt that that's relating to a disability or a protected characteristic or discrimination of any sort, you can still claim for discrimination. If it wasn't covered by conduct capability or some other substantial reason, that can be considered as an unfair dismissal. So it needs to be something that's scooped up within, you know, a conduct capability or some other substantial reason realms. If it's not, and if it's just because somebody doesn't like somebody and they dismiss them and they think that that's okay, then it can be considered as an unfair dismissal, because it's not just. Best advice I can provide is, you know, following a fair process and don't cut corners. And if you feel as though a fair process hasn't been followed in the initial stages, because you quite often might pick up a case where, you know, particularly with absence, you might pick up a case where earlier down the line things haven't been performed correctly, procedures haven't been followed correctly, and you might then need to pick it up and start a fair procedure, which can take you much longer before you can reach an outcome. But I think it's well worth doing that than cutting corners and hoping that they don't recognise that a fair process wasn't followed initially. And that's it, really. We've covered dismissal in relation to discrimination. If dismissal is relating to a protected characteristic, it will be unfair dismissal, unless the protected characteristic does not relate to whatever you're dismissing the individual for. And then the list goes on for unfair dismissal. And I think that I say the list goes on because actually there'll always be cases, there'll always be case studies and new cases that show us new ways of there being unfair dismissal.